Hello, everyone. Happy June. This is the second week of June, I think. So, of course, since we're talking about jewelry, I got the Cuban link. These are not real diamonds. I got my other bracelet. I got my necklace. It's like the most blingy. There's little non-real diamonds in there. So, yeah, now I'm trying to look the part for today's video because we're going to be reviewing Ice Cold, a hip hop jewelry history. I saw the title right. I think this is Gucci Mane on the cover. It's like huge. It's so heavy. So I'm gonna be taking breaks from picking this thing up. So yeah, we're gonna get right into it. So it is an exhibit catalog because I don't remember what museum it was in, but it was in a museum. So this is like, I guess, from the museum into a book. Be like at least 10 pound book. Okay. Let's go more into the background. The author is Vikki Tobak. I hope I said her name right. They also have introductions from, well, let me see if they say this in the description before I say it. Well, let me read it. Oh, this is her biography. Okay, they did not mention this in the synopsis. I just looked at it. So I'll give her biography in a second. But they have Slick Rick, ASAP Rocky, LL Cool J, and Kevin, Coach P, Lee, and Pierre P. Thomas have like their own sections. I didn't put any rings on. Of course, in the jury video, I forgot my rings. Coach P and Coach K. I've been calling them the wrong names. I've been calling in my notes one of them Coach P, but Coach K and Coach P. Theirs is technically an interview, but the other ones are talking about jewelry and their own collections and how they feel about it. So there's that. So Vikki Tobak has worked in Complex, Rolling Stone, The Fader, Mass Appeal, Paper, Vibe, ID, and Detroit News, among others. She is the author of Contact High, A Visual History, Hip Hop, and curating of the traveling exhibition of the same name. She's a former producer and columnist for CBS, CNN, and Bloomberg News, so she got a lot of jobs. She also got her start as a culture editor for Paper Magazine before going to Payday Records as Empire Management, working with groups including Gangstar, Jay-Z, Mos Def, Show, NAG, and other hip hop legends. So she had a lot going on. That's not even her whole. I don't think that's her whole biography, but basically, that's a good like synopsis. I think I got it from. I forgot what website I got it from, but I did not get it from Wikipedia, so it's probably more. It was released August 2nd, 2022. The synopsis is using 40 years of iconic imagery and compelling stories, this visual history shines a light on the world of hip hop, where megastars from Run DMC to Tupac and Jay-Z to Migos and Cardi B flash brilliant custom pieces to show status and personal style. So, I'm going to get into my pros, my cons, my overall opinion. I actually do have a favorite chapter and least favorite chapter. Let me do that first. So, my favorite chapter would be the 80s. I'm going to show my favorite picture from the 80s. I liked it because they have, got my sticky note, because they have, of course, the gold and the chains, but they also have Afrocentric jewelry. So it's like two dichotomies. So that's why it was my favorite. I'm going to show one image though, because I felt like it really encompasses like that era. And now I'm trying to find it. It was, I think it was Eric B. Hopefully that was him. And he has on, yeah, here it is. Is it Eric B? This is Big Daddy Kane, y'all. So Big Daddy Kane here, as you can see, he has the gold, but underneath it, you can see there's like the African, Pan-African like chain, like the leather medallion. So for him, yeah, both, and he got the finger rings too. That was really popular. So it's like interesting that some people had both, so it wasn't just either or. But yeah, that was basically like the style for then was like, you have the gold chains or you have the Afrocentric leather, the beads, the medallions, but people had both. That was a good thing to see. And then my least favorite chapter was the last section, which was the interview with Coach P and did I say that right? No, it's Coach K. See, I mixed up their names with Coach K and P. Because I wanted like at least another. I really wanted a female rapper would have been good to like give her perspective because it was mostly male dominated. Which I know hip hop is technically mostly male dominated, but it'd been nice to have like Little Kim or Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion or Salt and Pepper. Like they had women sprinkled throughout, but they didn't have any perspective really. Um, Besides like some of the jewelers, the female jewelers, they had like some quotes from them like cut out, but that was about it. Um, or at least give someone who like back in the 80s or 90s when they started giving out record label chains to like talk about the I can't speak to talk about the tradition, but yeah, that was my least favorite because it's like they're not even rappers. And another thing was they were saying that their legacy was what did I mention this? I feel like I mentioned this. Oh, they said their legacy was jewelry for the record label instead of like the artist, which doesn't make sense to me. Or a record label. Like I get it, jewelry is important, for your look and for your image, right? Because of course you're a rapper, you want to look rich because you want to give off this fantasy that you could work hard, be like me, you can have all these diamonds and jewelry and wonderful things, right? But the record label execs, they're behind the scenes, and I don't want to feel like I don't want to sound like Suge Knight when I'm talking about people all in the videos, but really, which he's kind of a hypocrite because he was definitely on some uh, magazine covers. So there's that. But you're of course you're the face of the label, but I feel like the legacy should be the artists and your contributions to them, your label as a whole. Especially, I don't think it's black owned anymore, but it was, they were both black, so it was black owned. So, that could have, and yeah, I rather have not had them at the end, and especially at the end after all these decades, you just throw in this interview. I like, dang, because this is, as you can see, this is not only a big book, and size wise, it's heavy. It's like 300 plus pages. So by the end, you're like, I done went through all the decades. What else is there? So it would have been nice to have some female perspectives. But my one of my pros is the history throughout. They had a thorough history and like backstory for each decade of like, the Afrocentric and the gold chains in the beginning because of the drug dealers and stuff like that. And then going to the 90s and the record labels and the status symbol. And, then through the 2000s getting more extravagant, getting bigger, bolder, more colorful. It was really interesting. Um, yeah, and each decade got its own introduction in history before you saw the jewelry, so that was nice. The photography was really good, uh, at least for the bigger images. So, like for example, this cover was really great. Um, it's gonna be in my cons, but some of the smaller images, I'll talk about that later. But yeah, definitely the bigger ones. I'll show one in the book. It's really detailed. Yeah, you see everything in the big ones. Yeah, it was really good. It was a plethora of different photographers that had taken pictures of these people, of the rappers over the years. So it was really good that way. And I also loved seeing the different rappers' perspectives. They had, like I said, LL Cool J, Slick Rick, and ASAP Ferg talk about, what jewelry meant to them and what in their own jewelry and what it meant and like what the time period they were going through. Especially little Cool J. It was really interesting because he talked about one of his albums. I think it was called something Panther, and he had put a gold chain on the Panther. This was when Afrocentric was really big and like loving your blackness and wearing the Afrocentric jewelry and like the hair picks and your afros, and he got kind of backlash for putting a gold chain on a Panther, which seemed kind of extravagant for like that time period. But yeah, it was really interesting to see all those rappers' perspectives. And ASAP Ferg was the first rapper to be an ambassador for Tiffany's. That was nice to see some of his jewelry pictures, which I want to talk about in my overall opinion. But he did have like some jewelry outside of like regular jewelry. There was some brooches that were really nice to see. See if I can find that picture. Let me see. Where's this section? But it was nice to see something outside of like. Oh, I guess was he the first section? I did not know he was the first section. It was nice to see some jewelry outside of of course the picture I'm thinking of because I remember the picture. It's not in the first section, and so it was nice to see some jewelry that was like different than just the standard. Let me see 10. That's his section, but I don't see that picture that I wanted. I feel like it's somewhere else, but I just don't know where it is. They also talk about other people's jewelry. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but they have Elizabeth Taylor with like a headpiece on in her jewelry. There's like some emerald stuff going on. So, and they talked about like the ancient times of Africa, Egypt. I wish I could find that picture of ASAP Ferg. Oh, and then they have Roxanne Shante. So they have things other than just jewelry. They have her little hair piece with Shante, her name on there, and the bamboo earrings. So the 80s definitely had like a lot of variety. Um, that thing's heavy. But yeah, I really loved the little brooches he had. He had a pearl necklace on. Wish I could find a picture. Let me look at the index. I thought it was in his section, but I can't find it. Okay. I wonder if he's going to be under A or F. Let's try F. He's not under F, so. Okay. It's a bunch of pages. Let me check 101 first. This might actually be the picture I want. Nope. That's not 101. 156. Let's see. Okay, I'm almost there. 156. Nope. I don't even see him on this page. 156. 227. Let's try 227. I like have so many things that I liked, so 227. Almost there. 227. Nope. Ah, 259. So let's try 259. Here it goes. So here's the picture I was talking about. Ugh. With ASAP Ferg, and you see the little brooches. Thought those were cool, and he has the little pearls. Got his grills in. So he got something different. So that was nice. Ugh. So let's get into my cons. The author, she definitely sounds like she's an outsider looking in, like from the perspective of like the history and stuff, which I think she's white. Oh, I don't know what she really is, but that could be a factor. But she's also a journalist. So I mean, hey, I think she did, for what I know from hip hop jewelry and history, did a pretty accurate job. So I mean, she got everything from ancient Africa, Egypt, all the way up to today. All the designers you can think of, all the jewelry makers. It sounds like she got everything. So at least there's that. Oh, and the photography, mainly the smaller ones, like they would be like, oh, like the description would be like, oh, they have this chain on, but this picture's so small, you can't really see it. Just like the Elizabeth Taylor one, that one's a little better. But so, especially in black and white, they did not need to put no small pictures in black and white because you could not really see the jewelry. And the sections that they were divided in, they seemed, I swear, I don't know, I didn't really like keep track of how long each section was, but it seemed like the 2000s and the 2010s were longer than the other sections to me. I was like, okay, it's a lot going on here. So it didn't seem even. I would have liked that to be more even. Um, so I reversed their names, and I did not like this last section with Coach K and P. Like I said, I would like more rappers, female rappers, or like the origins of the record label chain. So my overall opinion, I enjoyed, I enjoyed the book overall. I could talk today, and I love learning about the history of jewelry as royalty and power from ancient Africa, Egypt to the present day. And I love this isn't necessarily. I love. Oh, maybe I meant to say I wish. I'm just going to start with this isn't necessarily the author's fault. But I wish there was more variety in the jewelry of today, other than just like basically wanting up each other. Like, oh, my diamonds are better than yours. No, my diamonds are better than yours. It's just diamonds and platinum and gold, pretty much. Um, and I love the 80s section because it had the two different styles. And I also, like I said, wish there were more female rappers since they were pictured and talked about. I talked about the brooches. I like the 2000s. I did like the 2010 sections about like with the creativity of the chains, other than just making them big. Some of them were spinning. They had lots of bright colors, especially like the Neptunes, Pharrell's like Neptune chain, very colorful. That was in the book. They had the spinning chain with G Unit. They had what is his name? Lloyd Banks had not Eiffel Tower, Statue of Liberty chain. Missy Elliott had a ring and a chain that was like a turntable, with the vinyl on it, and the vinyl moved, so that was cool. This book was a lot of interesting information and gave a good overview of hip hop's jewelry history. Even though the author sometimes sounded out of place, I think she did a good job researching for this project. Now I'll give this book an 8 out of 10. So something that Coach P, Coach P and K talked about but didn't go into was one of them said something about the chains to slavery, like slavery chains to jewelry chains connection, but it was like, I'm not going to go into it. But I want to go into it. I do. Um, and I feel like that was a wasted opportunity for them, especially because one of them had mentioned they buy specific jewelry, like watches, that appreciate in value so that when they give them to their kids, it'll keep getting more valuable for them. So it's something to leave to them. And I think this is a valid argument against like over the top hip hop culture of jewelry. And, I think they should pass this message on to their artists, like leave, get something to leave your behind to your children. And I feel like that's a really good message. But they did not. I mean, he did go into it, but then you know, the slavery change to jewelry change, he didn't really go into. But one thing I want to talk about is that specifically. Um, what did I say? Oh, I agree. Even outside of hip hop, us as being black, hip hop, us as black people, are we being enslaved by designer and expensive things? Um, and also, really got to look at the bigger picture. Like we're shouting out these brands and these jewelers and all these people, and what are they doing for us? And we also have to think about, you know, we really need to invest in ourselves and really question like what is real wealth. And yeah, I think the chains look cool. I don't think I have anything against them. Are they there to flash, like just to be flashy, or are we leaving something like with inherent value? Like that's what I kind of, especially like the really personal like name chains and like, um, who was it? Offset had a chain that was like a bando, like a trap house, and it's like him inside and the stove and stuff. And it's like, what are you doing with this after you die? Are you just with your kids as something to remember you by? Is this gonna appreciate in value? Like, what are we doing? Like for example, T Pain had a $400,000 chain, and he said big ass chain, and he said that was like the worst decision he ever made because it's like, what are you gonna do with the big ass chain? What are you gonna do with it? Um, and is it really just $100,000 worth of diamonds in your chain, or is it also that and um, leaving something to your kids? Like I love the creativity of the bling. I think it's really cool. I love jewelry personally, uh, but we gotta also make sure that we don't need to go fund me when you die and your loved ones can't pay for the funeral. Like you can't be living with all these chains and all this stuff, and then when you die, you ain't leave nothing. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of the newer hip hop artists are actually really investing in things. Like for example, I know Cardi B and Offset, they're married. I think they have a couple houses, so like you fix up the houses and you depending on the area, they're gonna get more valuable. So that's like one example. But um, you know, we gotta have what basically want to say. I feel like I'm all over the place with this. Basically, what I want to say is like balance is key. Like you can have the jury, and have the flashy designer, but what else is there? Are you just having design? Are you just having the flash over the top stuff? Or are you having that and you're investing in something? You have a bank account for your kids when they go to college. Do you have a bank account for when you die? And do you have the money? You have a life insurance? Like we gotta have some balance here. That's basically what I want to say about the whole jewelry thing. I love jewelry personally. I have a lot. I don't have any diamonds because I can't afford them. But you know, we got to have a balance of what is, what are we leaving behind, basically. If you have children, or if you want to have children, you want to invest in something and not just be looking flashy. Put them in design, put them in this, but then when you die, nobody can pay for your funeral. That doesn't make any sense. So we got to have a balance. That's basically my take on it. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I would recommend this book. I would say definitely get it on sale. It was like 100 something, but I think I got it for like 60, 70. I can't remember 100%. But I would recommend it. I mean, it's like 300 plus pages. So, well, I read it in like 6 days. So it might take a little time if you're like reading it on and off. But yeah, it'll be a good coffee table book. You can open it, you can look at the pictures. Pictures, the big ones are definitely really nice. Some of the small ones, you can't read it, but highly recommend it. If you've read it or you're interested in the book, let me know what you thought about it. And I will see you all next week.